Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Guru Medeva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Guru Ratmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Om Shri Medha Dakshina Murti Swamine Namaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhetamastu ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. So, namaste once again, everyone.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste. Yo vijanati sakalam jagrat swapna sushuptishu buddhi tadvritti sadbhavam abhavam ihamityayam abhavam maham ityayam. So, we are discussing the teacher's answer to the student's question, Paramaha Kaha Atma. What is Paramatma? He started by saying that Yat Vijnaya, that means Yat means Paramatma Swarupam. Paramatma Swarupam Vijnaya. Only by knowing one's higher self, one's real nature, Naraha Bandhat Muktaha Bhavati. A man, a human being, is freed from the shackles of samsara, the limiting thing in the form of the three sharirams. And then one gains oneness with Ishvara. This was the 34th shloka. He introduced this. Then in the 35th shloka, the Acharya started explaining the nature of Paramatma. And he introduced two new terms. He described Paramatma as Kaschit Swayam Asti Nityam. Someone who is self-existent all the time and who is manifest in the I thought. Aham pratyaya lambanaha. And then he said avastha traya sakshi san, being the witness of the three states of experience, and panchakosha vilakshanaha. These are the two terms he introduced. Avastha traya sakshi and panchakosha vilakshanaha. Panchakosha vilakshanaha means distinct from the fivefold koshas. Koshas, as I said, means coverings, as though covering. Actually, they are not covers, they are as though they are coverings. Then, in this shloka, Acharya is further elaborating on the word avastha traya sakshi. So he says, I am this self-existent Atma who is manifest as the I thought all the time. Sakalam vijanati, knows everything. Jagrat swapna sushuptishu, in the waking, dream, and sleep states of experience, and also buddhi tadvriddhi sadbhavam abhavam, the presence and absence of the mind and its thoughts in the three states of experience. So he has introduced the Atma or Paramatma. Paramatma, Atma are one and the same thing. Says Sakalam Vijanati, knows everything. Up to this we saw in the last class. Now, in the next sloka, he further elaborates. We will read. Yav pashyati swayam sarvam, yam na pashyati kaschana, yaschetayati buddhyadi, na tadhyam chetayatyayam. The अन्वय of this sloka is Yaha swayam sarvam pashyati, yam kaschana pashyati, yaha buddhyadi chetayati, yam tad na chetayati ayam. Ayam, this is the Atma. What is that Atma? Yaha, who, swayam, by himself, sarvam, all, pashyati, sees. Here we can take sees as knows also. Then yam, whom, kaschana, one, anyone, na pashyati, does not see. Yaha, who, buddhyadi, the mind, etc. Buddhyadi is there, mind, etc. Chetayati, illumines. Yam, who, tad, that is that mind, etc. Na chetayati, does not illumine. So this is the Atma who sees all by himself without any aid, but whom none sees. Nobody is able to see. This Atma illumines the mind, but whom the mind, etc., do not illumine. So we have already seen what is this Atma. Atma is the consciousness principle. That is the main class of this sentence. Rest are all adjectival clauses. Yaha swayam sarvam pashyati. I, the Atma, am that consciousness principle which perceives, experiences, knows by its mere presence everything in the inside world of emotions, knowledge, etc., as well as the outside world. Atma perceives the inside world first. Inside world consisting of mano, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. And through the inside, it sees outside. Just as, my spectacles is there. Right? In front of my eyes, I see the spectacles. And through the spectacles, I see the whole world. Everything, including these people who are attending this class. Suppose there is a piece of hair on the spectacles across the lens. I will see the spectacles and also that hair which is there. But what is spectacles? It is anatma. Therefore, I see the proximate anatma first and then the remote anatma, remote in the sense the entire world. I see the Shariratrayam and through the Shariratrayam, I see everything else. I here means consciousness. Thus, I see everything. The closer anatma, the body, mind, sense complex, and the remote anatma, everything else in the world, I see. Must always remember, because people get totally confused between this I. Whenever we use the word I, we are so much used to referring this I as the body, mind, sense complex that whenever we are talking about I in the context of the Atma also, they get confused. So here I means the changeless, eternal, all-pervading consciousness. That is the I. We are referring to I, the real I. Then there will be a logical question. If I, the Atma, the changeless, eternal, all-pervading consciousness, sees everything, then who sees the consciousness? Isn't it? Consciousness sees everything by its mere presence, but who sees the consciousness? He says, nobody sees the consciousness. Nobody can see or objectify the consciousness. Consciousness is available only for subjectification. It is never ever available for objectification. It is available as I the subject. Therefore, he says, Yam Atmanam Kaschana Pashyati. Nobody can see this Atma. And the question is, what about God? We have been told right from childhood that God is so powerful, omnipotent, omniscient. Can't he see Atma? Vedanta says no. God also cannot see the Atma because God is the very seer Atma, never seen the Anatma, never the seen Anatma. Whenever we are talking about God, we are referring to consciousness only. That's why in childhood and all that, our parents, I remember my parents telling me, you should not do anything wrong because Bhagavan is always watching you. At that time, we objectify Bhagavan as somebody external because at that stage, at that age, that is what we will understand. But there is a message even in that Bhagavan is watching you, God is watching you, means what? The God, the consciousness, ever all-pervading consciousness, eternal consciousness is always a witness to everything that is being done by this Anatma, body, mind, sense complex. So Atma is ever the seer, never the seen, ever the hearer, never the heard. And the last class we saw the mantra from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, isn't it? Antaryami Brahmanam. Adrishto, Drashta, Ashruta, Shrota, etc. So Atma is the unseen seer, unheard hearer, unsmelt smeller, unthought thinker. It is ever the subject, never the object. Now another logical question. Rationalists, they have got all sorts of rational questions. They should raise the questions and a Vedanta student or a Vedanta teacher should be able to answer it. The question is, if Atma can never be known, what is the proof of existence of Atma? If Atma is never known, never objectified, what is the proof that Atma is there? We say the very knowledge of everything is possible because of a knower only. Because for any knowledge to take place, there should be a knower and a known. That is the object of knowledge. the presence of the known, that you are able to identify the objects, you are able to see the objects, you are able to experience the object, is itself proof for the presence of the knower, which is I myself. The Atma, we must understand, is not some exotic thing or anything. I am the Atma. Aham Brahmasmi. There is no mysticism involved in this Atma and all that. So the moment I say I know means there are two things, I the knower and the object which is the known. And we have already seen in one of the earlier classes the example which Swami Paramathananda gives. When we see a photograph of people and objects, we know the presence of a camera. But we never see the camera in the photograph. But no person with intelligence can deny the presence of the camera. So every photograph is a proof for the presence of the camera. You do not require a separate proof. Similarly, the entire objectified world is the proof that I, the consciousness principle, am there. I don't have to be proved separately. It is self-evident as I am. Therefore, he says, Yam Swayam Sarvam Pashyati, Yam Kaschana Pashyati. And then he says, Yaha Chetayati Buddhyadi, Tad Yam Na Chetayati Ayam. Chetayati means enlivens. The same Atma, the same consciousness, the I, by lending consciousness to Anatma, makes the inert Anatma into a sentient Anatma. Anatma borrows consciousness. And this borrowed consciousness, the Shastra gives a technical name, Chidabhasa or Chit Pratibhimba. As I told in one of the earlier classes, it is reflected consciousness. I, the Atma, the consciousness, lend reflection to the body, mind, sense complex. And because of that reflection, the body, mind, sense complex also becomes sentient. For example, if I enter a dark room, I cannot see my hand because my hand is not bright by itself. But when I switch on the light, the bulb, rather, the light of the bulb gives illumination to it. So the hand also becomes bright because of the borrowed light. When I switch off, the borrowed light goes away, and then again I cannot see my hand. So similarly, just as the light illumines everything, I, the consciousness, enliven the Jada Anatma. Like what? Buddhyadi. Here the word buddhi we have to understand as antakaranam. Adi represents Stula Shariram. The rest of the, other than the antakaranam, rest of the Sukshma Shariram, that is Pancha Prana hai, Pancha Jnanendriya hai, Pancha Karmendriya hai. And also Karana Shariram. In short, all of them are Anatma. We can take all of them as Anatma. So, the consciousness enliven the inert Anatma. So, Yaha, the consciousness, Chetayati, enlivens, Buddhyadi Anatma. Thus, the Atma enlivens the Anatma. Then immediately people will ask, who enlivens the Atma? Smart people, intelligent people. They say we understand Atma lends consciousness to the body, fine. But Atma itself gets consciousness from where? And that's where Vedanta says Atma is never ever enlivened by anything. Because whenever we say Atma, we are referring to consciousness only. That is the original source. The adjective conscious, we never use it for Atma. The adjective conscious, we use it only for Anatma. Whatever borrows consciousness is conscious. Body is conscious means it has borrowed consciousness. Mind is conscious means it has borrowed consciousness. We don't say Atma is conscious. If we say Atma is conscious, it will mean Atma has borrowed consciousness. But that's not the case. Only Anatma can become conscious. Atma never becomes conscious because Atma is itself consciousness. Therefore, if you add ness, N-E-S-S, it is Atma. If you remove N-E-S-S, it is Anatma. So Atma being consciousness itself, it never becomes conscious by borrowing consciousness. Therefore, nothing needs to illumine or enliven the Atma. It is Swayam Siddha, self-effulgent. Therefore, he says, Tad yam na chetayati. Yam means Atmanam, the Atma. Tad means Buddhyadi Anatma. So we can put the full sentence. Buddhyadi Anatma ayam Atmanam na chetayati. Anatma like Buddhi, etc. does not enliven the Atma. In simple English, Atma enlivens Anatma, but Anatma does not enliven Atma. Light illumines the hand, hand does not illumine the light. Because light is self-luminous. So here the word I am refers to Atma. In the next sloka, he further elaborates on the topic of Atma. Very beautiful sloka. प्रकृति विकृति भिन्न है, शुद्ध बोध स्वभाव है, सदसदिदमशेषम भासयन् निर्विशेष है, विलसति परमात्मा जागृदादिष्वस्था स्वहमहमिति साक्षात् साक्षी रूपेण बुद्धेः. Different meter. That's why the speciality of Vivekachudamani is Adi Shankara has different slokas set to different meters because he wanted to be as precise as possible, but at the same time he has to cover the entire Vedanta. And whenever we are using meter, there are restrictions in terms of how many vowels can be there, how many consonants can be there, and all that. So he has very ingeniously used different meters to express different ideas. Very poetic, very musical also. So the Anvaya of this sloka is a big sloka, lot of words are there. Paramatma Prakriti Vikriti Bhinna hai, Shuddha Bodha Swabhava hai, Sat Asat Idam Asesham Bhasayan Nirvishesha hai, Jagratadishu Avastasu Aham Aham Iti Buddhehe Sakshi Rupena Sakshat Vilasati. That's a full Anvaya of this. Paramatma, the Paramatma, pure consciousness. Prakriti Vikriti Bhinnaha is different from cause and effect. Shuddha Bodha Swabhavaha of the nature of pure consciousness. Sat, those with forms. Asat, those without forms. Idam, all that can be referred to as this. Asesham, without exception. Bhasayan, illumining. Nirviseshaha, devoid of attributes. Jagradadishu avastasu, in the three states of experience such as waking, dream, etc. Aham aham iti, as I thought. Buddhehe, of the mind. Sakshi rupena, as the witness. Sakshat vilasati, shines directly. The Paramatma shines directly as I, in all three states of experience like waking, etc., as the witness of the mind, illumining without exception all those elements and elementals with forms and without or formless, it itself remaining changeless. So he said it's a brilliant sloka. Not that other slokas are not brilliant, but in this one sloka, you can recollect all aspects of Vedanta by just remembering this one verse. You can actually talk on this sloka for hours. You can extract almost every fundamental principle of Vedanta out of this one capsule sloka. The main sentence is Paramatma Vilasati. Paramatma is all the time evident, effulgent. Anatma is evident now and then, isn't it? The anatma of a person who is in a hospital is evident now, but that anatma is not evident tomorrow when that person dies. Even among, say, three entities, A, B, and C, when I look at A and B, C is not evident. When I look at B and C, A is not evident. When I look at A, B, and C, look at A and B, C is not evident. So anatma becomes evident and non-evident. Sometimes it is evident, sometimes it is non-evident. But in and through all of them, one thing which is ever evident, without we separately working for, is the changeless I, which is always evident as I am, I am, I am. I am seeing a form, I am hearing a sound, I am seeing a picture, I am smelling some nice fragrance, I am touching a soft doll. All these forms, the doll, the picture, the sound, all these form comes and goes. Sound comes, goes, picture comes and goes, smell comes and goes. What does not change is I am. What I am objectifying comes and goes, but I never come and go. I am always there. And to say I am there, I don't require any effort. Isn't it? Suppose you have gone to sleep, but not yet slept. Lying down, eyes closed, and somebody calls your name in the house. What will you say? I am here. Does it require any effort? It's an automatic response. I am always there. Morning, I was there. I have no doubt about it. I know that I don't need to think about whether I was there or not. Oh, was I there in the morning? I don't need to think about it. I know I was there in the morning. That which is effortlessly evident is the Atma, I. And that Atma is called Jivatma by the ignorant person. And that Atma is called Paramatma by Shastra, by Jnanis. Therefore, Shankaracharya says this consciousness principle, which is really Paramatma, Vilasati, shines. Shines means not like the local bulb or light. Shines means here always evident, Pratibodha Viditam. Now, if I ask, how can I see the Paramatma? Should I meditate? Or should I go into Nirvikalpa Samadhi? Is there a special occasion which is required to recognize Paramatma? He says nothing is required. Aham aham iti sakshi rupena buddhehe. Aham aham iti. It is always evident. Paramatma is always evident as I am, I am, I am. In the form of I am. In the form of self-awareness. It is always evident. For example, when is light evident? When I read the first line of some sentence, the light is evident. I read the first line only because of the light only. When I go to the second line, the first line is gone. Second line has come. I am able to read it. Why? Because light is there. Light alone makes the second line evident. Similarly, third line evident. Different lines are evident at different times, but light is evident all the time. Because of light alone, everything else becomes evident. Similarly, I am the consciousness evident all the time. When happiness comes, consciousness is evident. It makes the happiness evident. When sorrow comes, worry comes, anger comes, all the time I, the Atma, am evident. There is no special occasion is required. In fact, if a special occasion is required, the only occasion you can contemplate is Guru telling, when the Guru tells the Shishya that it is evident. He may tell, may you now turn your attention to the ever-evident I. That turning the attention is the time when we recognize the ever-evident one. But otherwise, it is evident, it is available all the time. It is the only problem is only we don't recognize it. And that occasion, when Guru says, he gives the Mahavakya Upadesha, Tattvamasi, you are that Paramatma. That ever-evident consciousness is the real I, not the body, not the sense complex, not the mind. This I have to know. I have to claim the Atma at the time of Vedanta Shravanam. That if at all you want a special occasion, that is the special occasion. Therefore, Paramatma aham aham iti vilasati. And all the other words in the sloka are description of that Atma. So I said, every adjective is a brilliant one. Reveals so much. We will go one by one. First, we will take the second word. Shuddha Bodha Swabhavaha. Swabhavaha means Swarupam. So I, the Atma, am of the nature of Bodha. Bodha here means Chaitanyam, consciousness. Remember the five-featured consciousness. The beautiful definition of consciousness consisting of five features, which has been given by Swami Paramathananda, which I have shared with you more than once during the course of these talks. Therefore, whenever I use the word consciousness, in your mind, all the five features should quickly run. It should be in your subconscious all the time. That is the Nididhyasanam one has to do, continuous Nididhyasanam. And what type of consciousness it is? He says, Shuddha. A very important adjective. Shuddha means pure, ever pure. Because Anatma is never pure. This body, mind, sense complex Anatma is never pure, both externally and internally. That is why, you have to take bath. Not only every day, but sometimes several times a day, especially in the summer. You take bath, if it is a very humid, like in Chennai or in Bombay, you come out of the bathroom, you start sweating again. Because of the sweat, within an hour or two, the body again becomes dirty. So the body is ever impure. So is the mind. What are the impurities of the mind? We have already seen Raga, Dvesha, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Madam, Acharya. Every moment the mind is besieged with one or more of these impurities. And in fact, the focus of Karma Yoga is to remove these impurities only. And what is the most important thing to be noted is that even though the consciousness pervades the impure body, the impure mind all the time, their impurities do not contaminate the consciousness. Consciousness never becomes foul-smelling, requiring a bath. Consciousness does not have raga, dvesha, etc., requiring karma yoga. Therefore, I am the ever pure Atma in all three periods of time. And the example Shastra gives for this is the sun, the light of the sun. When the sun rises, its light falls equally on all the objects. It falls on the presidential palace. It falls on all the roads. It falls on all the vegetation, fruit trees. It also falls on garbage dump. Foul smelling garbage dump also. The sun shines. But does all these qualities of this, the smell of the flowers, the smell of the fruits, or the foul smell of the garbage dump, does it get attached to the sunlight? No. So sunlight makes everything evident, but it itself remains pure, unattached, asangaha. And whenever we talk about purification in the context of spiritual, spiritual pursuit, the purification is not for me, the Atma, but it is for the mind, Anatma. To understand the pure Atma, I need a pure mind. I need a mind, a pure mind, to know that I am the ever pure Atma. Therefore, purification is required for the knowing mind and not for Atma. So, sadhana chatushtaya sampatti is required for jnanam, not for moksha. Why? Because moksha is my very nature. But to know that I require a pure mind. Therefore, Shuddha Bodha Swabhavaha, I am of the nature of pure consciousness. Then the next description he says, Prakriti Vikriti Bhinnaha. Prakriti here means Karanam. We saw that when we are discussing Karana Sharira, one of the names given to Maya is Prakriti. In fact, Krishna uses the word Prakriti for Maya in Bhagavad Gita. So Karanam, the cause. Vikriti means Karyam, the effect, the product. Here, the Prakriti, the Karanam refers to the micro Karana Shariram and also the macro Karana Prapancha. This we have already seen. Prakriti means Karana Shariram plus Karana Prapancha. And Vikriti means Karyam, the product. What do we mean by product? This again we have seen. Sukshma Shariram is a product. Stula Shariram is a product. Sukshma Prapancha is a product. Stula Prapancha is a product. All physical universe, the subtle universe, subtle body, the gross body, everything is a product. So all these four will come under Vikriti. At the individual level, we call it avidya. At the macro level, we'll call it Maya. But both come under Vikriti. Therefore, I am different from the universe. I am different from the cause of the universe, Maya. I am different from the body. I am different from the mind. I am different from the thought. I am different from the blankness in the sleep state. I am different from the entire changing anatma. Prakriti is also anatma. Vikriti is also anatma. Prakriti is also matter or energy or whatever you can call it. Vikriti is also matter. Both are inert. Therefore, I am Prakriti Vikriti Bhinnaha. I am neither the causal matter nor am I the effectual matter or the product. I am Karya Karana Vilakshana Chaitanyam Asmi. I am the consciousness who is beyond the cause and effect. So Prakriti Vikriti Bhinnaha. Actually, if we assimilate the import of these verses properly, we cannot work for moksha. In fact, we need not work for moksha. Why? Because the moment I claim that I am Chaitanyam, I am Nitya Mukta, that moksha is my very nature, that I already know I am ever free, where is the question of working for freedom? So, if you look at it, go deep into it, the very moksha pursuit becomes meaningless. But for that, you to reach that stage, understanding, assimilation of this knowledge is very, very essential. Superficially, you cannot stay, oh, I am free, I don't need for moksha. You have to, this knowledge has to go and get assimilated completely, ingrained. And with each of these verses, the clarity increases. And we go towards that stage where we can claim, I don't need moksha. What moksha are you talking about? What moksha you are talking about next janma, etc. Nothing. In this janma, now itself, I know I am already a moksha purusha. I am already siddha. I know that I am a free, I am a free bird. I don't need to work for my freedom. Therefore, our expectation of moksha as a future event will gradually recede. Where is the question of postponing moksha to next janma, etc.? If someone says that in this janma I will I will do shravanam and mananam, and I will do nididhyasanam in the next janma and attain moksha, it will mean that that person has not understood what nididhyasanam is, what moksha is. Moksha is understanding and assimilating the fact that you are already by nature mukta hai, free. And it is because of your ignorance of this fact which makes you feel bound and shackled. So as we assimilate these powerful verses, our own expectations, our own understanding of moksha, trying to achieve moksha in the next janma, etc., they will all go away. So prakriti vikriti bhinna hai. Then he said, Sat asat idam asesham bhasayan nirvishesha. Sat means murtam. Murtam means with form. Asat means amurtam, formless. So amurta prapancha means formless universe. The world which is intangible, the world of emotions, the world of concept, the world of ideas, they don't have any form. So they are all called amurta prapancha. So all the concepts, everything will come under amurtam. Even akasha and vayu in the scriptures are called amurtam. They don't have a form. Space and air are intangible, invisible principle. But fire, water and earth, they will come under murta prapancha because they have a form. Therefore, Sat and Asat, Murta and Amurta Prapancha, both tangible and intangible universe I am aware of. Asesham, without exception, I am aware of all of them, everything within as well as without. Bhasayan, I illumine, I make them effulgent. As the consciousness principle, I the real Atma, which is none other than the one Paramatma, I illumine the entire universe. The word Bhasayan means to illumine. Illumine. Through my physical body and mind, I illumine the world around me. In fact, I, the consciousness, illumine the world around me through my physical body and mind. And the same consciousness is there in all living beings. If there is a celestial being in the heaven, like Ramba, Urvashi, etc., that celestial also has got the same consciousness. That consciousness alone illumines the world. Consciousness is only one. Therefore, through infinite bodies, one consciousness alone, Bhasayan, illumines the entire infinite universe. Even though we use the word illumines as a verb, we should know that consciousness does not, it is akarta, it cannot do anything for us to use a word. So what we have to understand is consciousness illumines or consciousness reveals or consciousness knows not through any action but by its mere presence. Therefore, Bhasayan Sat Asat. And this illumination is Nirvishesha. Nirvishesha means without any fluctuation or variation or even quantification. Since this illumination is not an action, there is no quantification or fluctuation in the illumination. Because if you take the case of a lamp, a light, a lamp, there can be power fluctuations. The light may become bright suddenly and may become dim suddenly. There is a fluctuation in the intensity of the light. But consciousness does not fluctuate at all. There is no dullness of the consciousness. And whenever we say, oh, I am feeling very dull, I am feeling drowsy, I am feeling sleepy, or I am suffering from lack of concentration, etc., it is not due to the fluctuation in the consciousness. All these Visheshaha belong to the Anatma, the mind. By mind being a matter, it has got all fluctuations on depending upon what time of day it is. If you sit with a Vedanta book at 9 o'clock at night, you don't need any sleeping pills. So it all depends upon, that's why all this learning should be done early in the morning when the mind is fresh. By night, evening, 9 o'clock, the mind is already tired. What Vedanta you will study at that time? So Chaitanyam is nirvisesha, without any visesha. Visesha means additional faculties like increasing, decreasing features, etc. So consciousness is not subject to such features. It is uniform. So nirvisesha we can understand as uniform. And this Paramatma, which is I, the consciousness, Jagradadishu avastasu vilasati. It shines. It is self-revealing. You don't require any other instrument to reveal the consciousness, because those very instruments themselves are revealed by consciousness only. Therefore, vilasati, it independently shines. Then the fourth line. Aham aham iti sakshat sakshi rupena buddhehe. Sakshat means aparokshataya, self-evidently, without requiring any means of knowledge, without requiring any pramanam. Thus, independently, unassisted by anything else, the Paramatma vilasati. When Jagradadishu avastasu, in all three states of experience, even in Sushupti, we have already seen this. Even though the mind is dormant at that time also, that blankness of the Sushupti, the deep sleep state, is revealed by consciousness. The one who is aware of that blankness is consciousness. However, I cannot claim that during the deep sleep state because my mind is dormant at that time. Only after waking up, when my mind becomes active, I am able to say, I slept well. How are we able to say that? Because that has been recorded. Your sleeping well has been recorded somewhere. Where has been recorded? Who has recorded it? Only one possibility. The Sakshi, the witness, the consciousness has recorded it. Because that revealing I, the consciousness, was there in the Sushupti also. It is ever present. Therefore, Jagradadishu means waking, etc. In all states of experience, I, the Chaitanyam, shines and is evident. And in what form it is available? Aham aham iti. Very, very important. This is the crux of the whole thing. Don't go and look for consciousness anywhere. Don't start buying telescopes and microscopes and what all scopes and all to research into consciousness. That is the whole problem with the scientific community. They are trying to locate the consciousness. You don't need to locate. The consciousness or Chaitanya is available only in the form of I. Therefore, as I alone it is available, you don't need to search anywhere. It is self-evident rather. Are you not self-evident to yourself? So that I or consciousness is not an object of experience. And how does that I consciousness function? Sakshi Rupena. When Atma or consciousness is in the proximity of Anatma, it is called Sakshi. The moment Anatma is negated, we will see all that later, negated as Mithya, Sakshi loses its name, its nature also, its status also. It is then called Atma. So in the presence of Anatma, the Atma is called Sakshi. When the Anatma is negated, it is called Atma. It is just like, a person is named husband only in the presence of and because of the availability of a wife. Otherwise, he cannot be called a husband, isn't it? He can be called a person, human being, etc. Therefore, Atma is called Sakshi, because when you say witness, there must be some object to witness. And that object is Anatma. So, Atma is called Sakshi only when it is available along with Anatma. And as Sakshi, it is called a passive knower. As Atma, it is a non-knower. Sakshi is a passive knower, Atma is a non-knower. Therefore, Sakshi Rupena of what? Buddhehe. As Sakshi of the Buddhi. Buddhi here means the mind. So, Atma, the consciousness, is the witness of the mind and also the witness of the three states of the mind, Avastatraya Sakshi, which was mentioned in the 35th verse, if you remember, and that is explained here. This is the Atma. And with this sloka, of course, there are many slokas in the original verse. Here, only 3 slokas has been selected. So with this sloka, the nature of Atma has also been presented. So 2 questions have been answered. The 5th question, Kosau Anatma, what is Anatma? And the 6th question, Kaha Paramaha Atma, what is Atma? What is Paramatma? They have been answered. Now, with the help of these 2 answers alone, we have to understand all the other 5 questions. Now we are going to see the answer to the next question. Ko nama bandha. What is that thing called bondage? We will just have time to read this sloka. We will see the details in the next class. Atranatmanyahamiti matti bandayeshosya punsah prapto jnananjanana marana klesha sampata hetuhu yenaivayam vapuridam satyamityatma buddhya pushyat-yukshatyavati vishayaistantubihi koshakridvat. Again, some difficult words are there. So we will see the Anvaya and also the meanings of this sloka in the next class. Okay. Thank you. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Thank you, Guruji. Namaskaram. Thank you.
Another heavy session.
Guruji,
Thank you,
Guruji,
Yes.
the head is spinning.
It is been heavy session.
No, Atma seems to be totally indeterminate.
No, it is not indeterminate. Atma is you.
No, I agree.
That's
But
all.
when
You have to overcome that mental block to understand Atma.
correct,
Atma is nothing but you. So near,
correct,
so far, as they say.
correct. It doesn't appear to be tangible, although you can say Atma is me or I or something. Like in the electrical engineering, we have this thing called I, small I or J, which is nothing but under root of -1. Under root of -1 is indeterminate. So Atma is equivalent to that now.
Yes, it is indeterminate means, and that is the struggle, all Upanishads and all Acharyas go through. How to explain something which is so near to you, which you are missing all the while, which cannot be explained with any words. I mean, even when you give examples, those examples are all not perfect examples. Any example you give, you can question that example. It will never ever be able to exactly explain what Atma is. That is the nearest it can come to. But what happens is, as even you go on purifying your mind by karma yoga and other activities, the purer and purer the mind becomes, this understanding keeps on enhancing rather. You start understanding, oh yes, I need to see myself different from this body, mind, sense complex. So you start, today you are considering body, mind, sense complex as the subject. Isn't it? Whenever you are saying, I am doing this, you are referring to an action being done by your body, mind complex. You start objectifying the body, mind, sense complex. When you say my body, you start thinking, why am I saying my body? If I am the body, will I say my body? You start thinking. Your own expression, when we use words, many times unconsciously we are using words. My mind is disturbed, we say. Right?
Correct.
Why do we say that? At the same time, we will also say, I am disturbed. That when we say I am disturbed, that shows the confusion between Atma and Anatma. When you say my mind is disturbed, meaning the same thing, you are making a differentiation between you and the mind. Mind belongs to me, I am not the mind. My spectacle is broken. Very clear, right? When I say my specs is broken, I know specs is an object which is not me. Same thing when you say my mind is broken, the status of the mind should be the same as the status of the spectacle. There is no change in the language that we use. It's the same words. My mind is broken, my specs is broken, mind is equal to specs. Specs is an object, mind is an object. Once you start understanding this and reflecting on even the language that we use to express certain expressions, with higher degree of purification of the mind, when the mind becomes very clear from all these, this kama, krodha, raga, dvesha and all that, which itself is a big challenge to achieve rather. But still, when you reach that, then these things automatically you start understanding. And Gyanis have done that. And Gyanis were like us only once. When they started learning, they would have asked the same question like we are asking today. But through the process which is given by the Shastra, they have reached that stage. And our endeavor is that following their footsteps, understanding how they have gone through this entire spiritual path, we are also trying to travel in that. That's all. And these are all
Of course,
things.
our journey,
Sorry?
true, our journey is very long.
Our journey is long. That is because we are born with so much of impurity, because this is required. What is required? See, if you go to the green room of a theater, green room is where the makeup artists, they
Correct,
do the
correct.
makeup, right?
Yes.
One of the most important requirements of a good green room is a perfect mirror. Because it is because with the mirror that you can see what makeup is being applied and whether that makeup is required for your role that you are going and all that. Sometimes the makeup man may not have any understanding. He may just do some makeup. That mirror is the one which tells you what exactly is happening to you. So that mirror, like that mirror, the purity of the mind is required for all this knowledge to get reflected, absorbed. And we have unfortunately born with so much impurities. In fact, lived the life, most of our life with so much of impurities, that today we are struggling to get rid of some of them after understanding that they are impurities. Because if there is some impurity, suppose you go somewhere and there is a crow or a pigeon sitting and there's something falls on you, you will immediately go and wash it, right? You won't like that impurity on your body. But what we are missing is our mind is besieged with so many impurities day in and day out, every moment. And we have to get rid of that for these things to make sense. That is what is important. So initially it will be a challenge. It is not that once you are attending this class, everything is going to become very clear and all. This is only the Shravanam part we are doing. Probably a little bit of Mananam. You have to contemplate on this. You have to go on telling yourself, go through this entire teaching should keep on going through your mind every moment of the day. Then it will start making a difference. Okay.
Thank you very much, Guruji. Namaskaram. Thank you very much.
Yes, Sitaramji.
Part of the thing you have answered to Krishanji. My point, or if I have understood correctly, Anatma is full of impurities.
Yes.
And you say there is a mirror which has to be cleaned. So we have to constantly clean the mirror and ensure that it becomes absolutely transparent.
Yes. Yes. That's what we have to do. That is why Karma Yoga is given as the first prescription. Sadhana Chatushte Sampatti is all about cleaning the mirror. And the cleaning time and the effort will depend upon how dirty the mirror is. From ages and ages, I mean, sometimes, there will be old houses and all that. We have got this attic,
Yes.
You go into that attic, you will find some old photographs of your grandparents, etc., right? With glass frame.
Yes.
You will find, how much dust and muck has settled on that. You can imagine how much effort you have to take in order to clean that glass plate to see what photograph is. This is only a few years. Maybe your grandparent, maybe 50 years or 100 years. We are talking about Janma after Janma after Janma. This muck has been, the impurities have gathered in our mind. To remove that, it will take a lot of time. But what is important? Two things. Conviction that it can be removed, and that the process given by Shastra will be effective in removing it. So I will start the process. Then don't worry. And once you go through this, the end result is What? I need not have worked for moksha at all. I have understood I am already moksha.
Moksha Purusha.
I am already a moksha mukta purusha. Why did I do all these things? But that understanding will not come to you now. It will come only after the process is completed. That is the beauty of it. So anyhow, that is what it is all. And as I said, compared to Tattva Bodha, Vivekachudamani is more heavy in terms of its content. Tattva Bodha was a light introduction. This is little more. But there are more and more Prakarana Granthas. They go into more deeper analysis and all that. And this has to be done slowly only, rather. Can't be
Well,
exposed.
it's a process. So you go
It's a process.
kindergarten. We are
Exactly.
still in the kindergarten stage.
Because the BSc or the physics that we study in high school, it is the same physics we will study in our undergraduation, in post-graduation also. But the text and the context and the content will be different, rather. Physics will remain the same, but it will be totally different approach, rather. Different
The intricacies will differ.
Exactly. That is what it is. Yeah.
Thank you.
Are you? Yes,
Hariom.
Lataji.
Namaste, Guruji. Am I audible?
Yes, very much.
Namaste, Guruji. Thank you very much. It is so very wonderful listening to the yet another session, going over the matter with the fine tooth comb, splitting and hair splitting and going over each hair. And yeah, if one understood one can understand this session properly, yes, we all can say we are the Mukta Purushas. But I have a couple of questions, Guruji. One is not directly related to today's session. One is, yes, I think one is quite a simple question, but then I don't have the answer. When I'm chanting a shloka, I'm chanting the shloka or reading a shloka or chanting a shloka, that's happening. And at the same time, my mind is also going over other thoughts. So who is chanting and who is thinking of other things? That's one question I have. And
the Anatma which does all these things. Atma can never do any action. Atma is only enabling the Anatma to do it.
Yes, Guruji, because everything else, any action means that is Anatma.
Yes.
And actionless energy or power is so between mind and Manabuddhi Chitta Ahankara. So this goes on between the Manabuddhi and Chitta Ahankara. Who is chanting? One aspect is chanting and one aspect is thinking.
All four are Anatma only. Mano, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara, all four are.
Yeah, they are all Anatma.
Anatma only.
So it's a combination of all the four Anatmas that all these activities that happen.
Yes, because basically, when you are chanting, there is a when you see a word, right? The process. If you just analyze the process, you are seeing a word. Immediately, there is your mind gets activated and goes into the chitta and see where I have seen this word earlier, right?
Okay.
Then this word becomes me. You can read that word. Suppose you see a word which you have never ever seen in your life, you can't read that word, right?
Yes.
So there is a word in Russian. You are asked to read that word, you can't read it because you have never seen it.
No.
So the way that Mano, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara, that's why we called it Antakaranam.
Okay.
Because we cannot, this is one entity which has got four functions.
Right. Okay.
So
that's
just like, I will give an example. Who approves something in an organization? Because any project which is approved goes through different processes, isn't it?
Yes.
But ultimately, there is one person which is a tongue which is going to chant. But for the tongue to chant, the mouth to chant, so many processes are there in the background.
Yes.
where everything is involved.
Yes, Guruji. Yeah.
And backing them, blessing them to do their action is Atma, consciousness.
Mm, mm. Okay. Yeah. Got it. Got it.
That is how it is.
Yeah. All these the activities happen at the Anatma level, but then it happens with the blessing of the Atma.
Atma.
Okay. So
That's why when I
this,
say eye, there are two eyes, one small eye, one big eye.
yeah.
Right?
Okay.
The big eye is the consciousness which doesn't do anything. The small eye is the anatma which does everything. But without the big eye, the small eye cannot do anything. Big eye cannot do anything on its own also. Therefore, when we say every human being, every jiva is a combination of the two.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Guruji, for that. Am I okay to ask the other question, or I can ask in the next time?
Go ahead. It's a free session.
Right. the three aspects, that is Paramatma and his creative power Maya, and the creation, the Prakriti. They have always been there from Anadi. They all have been there. And we, the created ones, we are a combination of all the three, right, Guruji? Have I understood it right?
Sorry, we
all the created beings, we are a combination of all the three. The Paramatma, his creative Shakti, and the creation. And we are his creation. We are the creator. We are created.
We are, yeah, exactly. Because there are four things in the Maya, correct?
Yeah.
Stula Prapancha, Stula Sharira. Sukshma Prapancha, Sukshma Sharira.
Yeah.
These are the four components of Maya.
Yes.
Consciousness is there, which is blessing all this.
Yeah.
At the macro level, it is Stula Prapancha and Sukshma Prapancha. At the individual level, it is Stula Sharira and Sukshma Sharira. With the way
yes,
we try to do it,
yes,
elements and elementals is what we try to differentiate.
Okay. No, my question was going to be, Guruji, that is it easier to, would it not be easier to say that you are a combination of both Prakriti and the Paramatma, instead of saying that you are not this, you are not this, you are not this, but you are this?
See, we can say that, provided we can show this is Paramatma and this is Prakriti.
Right.
Prakriti we can show.
Yeah.
Paramatma, how will we show? Well, our whole problem is objectification. We want to see.
Right.
Suppose you say this is night, not day. Then the question is, okay, show me what is day.
Yeah.
Then you have to show, okay, sunshine is there, it is day. When sun is not there, it is night. Correct? So there it's easy to understand. Problem here is, what is Atma, what is Brahman, what is Paramatma, we can't show.
So it's very abstract.
You can only see one side of the equation. You can't see the other one. So that is why the Shastra uses na iti, na iti, na. So the student will ask, is this Paramatma? No. Is this Paramatma? No. Like that it will go, and then after negating everything, what is left is Paramatma. What is that? Consciousness. Because of all these things are existing, all these things are conscious. That is how the Shastras approach is.
Right. Okay.
If we are able to show Paramatma like an object, then there is no problem. There is no need for Shastra. Straight away, this is Paramatma, this is Anatma, this is different, this is different. So understand, you are this. That's all.
Right. Yeah, got it, Guruji. I think that's why it's called the ultimate knowledge.
Exactly.
The ultimate knowledge. Okay. Thank you very much, Guruji. Thank you very much. Pranam. Thank you very much.
Sulekha ji.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste.
My question is regarding consciousness and its relationship to awareness. Is awareness or attention a product or a reflect, or is it a product of the anatma, and consciousness, which is all pervading, is the atma? What is that relationship between, awareness of maybe the body mind complex? Is that awareness or that focus that we use using this instrument something that we can use to understand or to know the Atma?
Yes. See, where is the knowledge sitting? The awareness is sitting where? In the mind, in the thoughts which are generated in the mind, correct? Now, that thought itself is inert. If there is a thought in your mind, it's like a dark room, the hand, right? The hand is there, but you can't see the hand in the dark room. Some light has to be shown. So when that awareness is there in the mind, the consciousness makes the mind the awarer. You see the difference? One is awareness, another is awarer. So the mind becoming an awarer, a knower, is because of this consciousness. But the knowledge itself sits in the mind only. That is the relationship. So the relationship between the mind and the consciousness is that unless the consciousness is pervading the mind, illumining the mind, enlivening the mind, the knowledge in the mind will not make any sense to you. It is just there, that's all. It's the consciousness which makes it meaningful to you, because not only the mind it is illuminating, it is also illuminating your intellect, which actually the mind sees and then understands what it is and all that and decides. So this process is a very continuous process. It is going on, except that in the deep sleep state, when the mind is resolved. As long as your mind is active, that is, it is either in the waking state or in the dream state, the mind is active, consciousness keeps on blessing, and that is why the mind works. So this is the relationship between consciousness and the awareness. For awareness, you need an awarer, and that awarer is what we say, consciousness lends that status of awarer to the mind, and therefore we say consciousness is the awarer. It is the sakshi, it is the witness. Because when we say lend, it does not do any action of lending, isn't it? Suppose I say that I am able to see the hand because my hand is borrowing light from the bulb. There is no such, bulb is not like a banker lending light to everybody, right? Light is there, blessing everything. My hand, my table, my laptop, my fan, everything. And in the process, I am able to see my hand also. That is how we have to understand the role of consciousness. It is just presence, that's all. Nothing else is there. It is there.
Thank you. Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you, Hari Om. Thank you.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Any other question? Nothing is there, then we can close the session. No hands are up. Okay, Hari Om, everybody.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Guruji.
Hari Om. Thank you.